Even more class changes 19th of July. What's up guys, Petko here, welcome back to another video. I just woke up and I saw quite a bit of a healer tuning and also Ele Shaman getting a buff, so I was really excited. Jump on the camera, I want to talk to you guys for a bit. Alright, let's begin. First thing first, we're having Holy Paladin. Holy Paladin received some bug fixes that fix Hammer of Anvil. Not to be activated by Judgment, that's pretty good if you're playing Lightsmith. W for that one. Also, they got a baseline 12% buff on Holy Shock, Prism, Ward of Glory, Light of Dawn, Beacon of Virtue. It's also getting buffed. Now it's going to work on 40 yards instead of 30. Okay, so overall healing output increase in Holy Paladin. And also, I believe that's one of the main issues right now with Holy Paladin is just output. Especially when you don't have procs. Obviously, RNG procs is something you don't really want to have on the healer. So I'm happy that Holy Paladin is getting some more attention. However, I would say if you really want to get to the top rankings, I would like to see a little bit more changes done to them. Where are you going to add more damage or healing? Either of it could work out, but preferably get them more healing so they can feel more consistent, because I feel like there's areas of time where there's not, you don't have the output to like heal the heavy HPS checks. I think that's one of the main issues. Otherwise, they have everything else to tackle all the important situations. Moving forward, we're having here Mistweaver Monk getting a 5% nerf. I think it's mostly because of raiding. I don't think they were performing as good in Mythic Plus compared to raid. Overall, that's going to hurt you both in Mythic Plus and raid. But again, if you are playing alternative physical comps, let's say with Protection Warrior, and they don't want to invite Woodwalker, then the obvious choice here would be get a Mistweaver for 5% more physical damage to the entire party, right? So that's your Joker. That's the main card that can get you in those keys, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, it's still gonna be fine. 5%, whatever. Fuck it. Shaman, Ele Shaman. So we finally getting some positive adjustments. Let's see what they're doing here. Maelstrom Supremacy now increases damage of your Earth Shock, Elemental Blast, or an Earthquake by 25%. Okay, so this is actually rather juicy buff because 10% more damage for your Ele Blast and Earthquake is good. Now the Earthquake part is going to increase your AoE by big time. However, single target wise, I would say you need a lot more for you to get there. First of all, Ele Blast accounts for not majority of your damage. I believe majority of your damage right now is Lightning Bolt and Tempest, especially if you're playing Power of the Maelstrom. After this, they're buffing Farseer. Again, Farseer is only really played in raiding, not really Mythic Plus, so this is completely irrelevant for Mythic Plus. They're buffing the damage of Lava Burst to be, instead of 5%, now 20%. That's really good. Step in the right direction, I would say, but Ele needs a lot more positive adjustments, especially for single target. Things like maybe Lightning Bolt buffs, more Lava Burst damage. I mean, they already buffed the Spenders. I don't think they're going to buff Spenders. I think if they buff Tempest, will be bad because that's going to give you massive AoE burst. So maybe make Ascendance baseline 2 minutes, because I feel like every 3 minutes you're insane in damage. But outside of those 3 minutes, if you don't get a proc of Ascendance, whether it's going to be DRE or tier set, you hit like a wet noodle, which is really bad. So I would really love to see more consistent damage throughout the dungeon of Ele, not to be that heavily RNG relied on Ascendance. Yeah, right now damage is a little bit scarce. Moving forward to Discipline Priest getting a nerf. So you guys know that Disc has been meta for a long time. People have been asking, hey, when they're gonna nerf Discipline Priest, yada yada yada. Finally, Disc Shields are getting nerf. Wheel and Wu getting a nerf from 5% value to 3%. They're buffing actually the mana, which pretty much means you won't be as mana hungry casting Radiance all the time, which is actually good in my opinion. It's gonna help with some mana hungers. I've seen some Disc Priests having a lot more drinks lately, so that's good. Renew also mana reduction by 30%, and then preventative measure increases the absorption of your power word shield by 30 instead of 40 value. Again, another nerf to the shield. So they're pretty much trying to make your shields smaller, so you won't be as dominant. Because right now, Disc has, in my opinion, the best healing profile across all the healers, because you don't have a reactive damage profile. You have a preventative damage profile, which means you can mitigate the damage before the damage even comes out, which is insanely good. Also, as a disc oracle, you are able to pump these massive shields to the party, which again, they could save up a squishy DPS. You could make any DPS feel tanky. Double PS, a barrier, massive shields done to the party. I mean, it's just really good. On top of having, PI and stamina and mindsuit, all kind of stuff, which helps you a lot by giving this utility to your team. However, because they already nerfed Shadow Priest, and Shadow Priest was actually a very strong contender to get to those top rankings. That's kind of an indirect buff to Discipline Priest, because right now, Shadow got nerfed by quite a bit. I think it's like 11 or 12% on single target, around 50% AoE. Holy Priest is behind Discipline Priest by a large margin in Mythic Plus, so I think this Priest, even after this nerfs, I still expect this to be one of the best healers in Mythic Plus. Maybe not the best anymore, maybe we're going to talk about that tomorrow on tier list, but most definitely one of the best still. And last but not least, they are buffing Voidweaver and Trophic Rift damage. I believe they nerfed that damage yesterday on a Voidweaver, and now they buffed it again, which makes me believe you might even want to go ahead and play in some dungeons Voidweaver, because Voidweaver damage profile, I believe, is the best across all healing specs. Maybe Press Evoker can have better damage than you, but after this buff on Trophic Rift, you're probably going to be the best DPS right now in Mythic Plus as a healer. Are you going to play Voidweaver instead of, again, Oracle? Maybe in some cases you would actually like to enter and play it just because of the damage, but I think that's just down to the future tuning. Now keep in mind, if you look at the timer right now, the patch comes on the 5th of August. Or 6th if you are from Europe. So realistically speaking, they're not going to do anything during this week. So we have 1 week, 2 weeks of tuning. Okay. We have 2 weeks of tuning. I believe if by next week your class does not get buffs, there's a slim chance that those buffs done to this week or this week are going to be massive. They usually don't tune classes as big during the patch week or the week before the patch. There could be like a minor changes here and there. So if you're looking for the bigger changes, I would expect them to happen next week. And if they don't happen next week for your class, I would expect them to have still changes done to you if you are underperforming, but not as severe as, for example, let's say we're having, for example, this week we're having Frost Mage buffed by Aura buff, 10%. Mage got significant, Fire Mage got significant buffs. We saw that Frost Decay got 12% nerf. Those are significant changes. I would expect by next week to receive one more of those patches, and then after that should be minor tweaks here and there just to finalize the specs and get them ready for the World First race and the season itself. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you on stream for the testing. Today is going to be a massive day for you. And also one more small update. I've already spoken about it, but today we're doing a choose your main spreadsheet. If you guys haven't seen it, yeah, I mean, I'm going to show it on stream. Pretty much ranking specs based on numerical values, which a lot of you guys like. But yeah, anyway, I'll see you guys on stream starting today in 2 hours. Bye for now.